there was a kind of tyrannical presence in my life growing up. There was like I had a father figure that everything had to be his way. We had to sit a certain way at the table.
Was he a military guy?
He might as well have been military the way he was raised by his dad. He actually he was sent to I believe it was like a Christian military boarding school when he was like high school age, like going into college, because he was kind of a degenerate himself.
Right.
But when they sent him there, it changed him, and he became like, you know, disciplined, proper. And his dad kicked the shit out of him too. And on top of that, when my dad was at that boarding school, his dad died of a massive heart attack. So they wouldn't even let him come home for his own father's funeral.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, when my dad died, I learned a lot about him. But back to the whole Guns N' Roses thing, I think like that defiance that I couldn't muster myself to have the courage to actually do. I felt like I lived vicariously through, you know, people like Snoop Dogg and like you know, all that shit that was dangerous. It was dangerous, and it was defiant. And I felt like I could listen to Guns N' Roses get in the ring, and I didn't know it at the time, but subconsciously, like my middle finger was up in the air at one person. And my entire life, even in my 20s and 30s, the person I wanted to say fuck you the most to was a living, breathing person. And his sperm made me. I learned a lot about this in therapy. I don't want to go on the whole my dad died tangent quite yet.
Well, how old were you when your dad died?
It was 2016.
Oh, sorry about that, first of all. Second of all, my question is, the only reason I said that really quickly is because, I don't know, you don't seem like you want to, but my question is this.
We can talk, like,
my question is this. My question is a little different.
Yeah,
it's not about your dad dying.
Yeah.
My question is not about his death. My question is about if he was this kind of dude and you were the kind of dude that I met in 2003 that had a fucking mullet, crushing beer, shirt off but fat, not like covered in sweat, Les Paul fucking Marshall Stack rock and roll, if AC/DC was mixed with like what's that fucking like almost like D Snyder-ish in a way like just crazy, like why, like when you were in high school and you started to develop your musical persona, especially at that time, what was your dad's take on that? Like, what did he think about you doing your art?
He was gone. He my freshman year of high school, before I really started doing the band stuff, because I started doing the band stuff real hard sophomore year of high school. That's when we started doing local shows and making the flyers and doing all that. He already peaced out. My mom kicked him out of the house because he actually like kicked down the door of my sister's room, and it got to the point where he was starting to be physically violent with us.
Right.
Because he always was an asshole. But then it got to when it got to the point where he started punching us and like kicking doors down and fucking just being a fucking monster, my mom like got the balls to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So, yeah. What did he think of me? He thought I was a fucking clown, dude. Like, and it was weird. It was weird because I don't know. Like, it's subconsciously, most of the reason why I became such a fucking lunatic is because I wanted to be the exact opposite of who he was.
Right.
Like, I wanted to like, and it all started like Guns N' Roses was like the first taste of that. But the older I got, the more I was like got into like punk rock, and more I wanted to like offend people and rock the boat and really kind of even make people feel uneasy. I wanted to do everything with my art that would piss off a guy like him.
Right.
You know? And what's crazy is when he died, I had to look at everything I'd done in the 15 years I was doing this fucking music thing, and I'd be like, what's the point now? If that whole point was like to prove this dude wrong, to show him that I could be myself, like on steroids, and like my goal was like, I'm gonna be successful against all odds, just so I could show this motherfucker that like I didn't take your path, I didn't act the way you wanted me to, and I did it. You know, and but the thing is you fucking died, dude. So it's like, who the fuck do I have to prove wrong now? You know, and so it got to a point where I had to really start looking at myself and be like, what am I doing this shit for? Like, because the answer is a tough pill to swallow. But it's like I don't even think I was really doing it for me. I don't even know how much of what I was doing was actual self-expression and me just lashing out for years.
Well, I mean, that is self-expression.
but was it connected to my true self, or was it more just me expressing fucking just like the angry little boy that lived inside me? You know what I mean? Like I had to really think about a lot of shit. It'd be
Right.
like, what, like, who am I really? You know, like
Well, it sounds like you're having in that place you're talking about. There's several different existential crises. Is that how you say?
is that the
Christ?
plural?
I don't know. There's
So
several
many
crises because there's
crises.
because whether like your natural what's the word I'm looking for, blah blah blah, towards doing music, your natural, like when a kid demonstrates that they're a music person, your natural whatever, it's like, let's just say capacity, your natural like being drawn towards music in general, being towards writing in general. You forget music, just creativity in general is one thing, and another thing is why, like where it's directed at.
I could.
Like let's say your dad was an angel. Would you never have picked up a guitar? Would you never have picked up a
I wouldn't
pen?
be me. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Guaranteed.
I know.
Yeah.
You would be a totally different person, and
Yeah.
you might be much more straight edge and much more like your dad, actually.
I'd probably be fucking lame as shit.
Because I feel like people kind of either are like a lot like their father, or they're like trying, like you said, as hard as they can not to be anything like their father. But I'm saying like that's kind of a different thing as to because you still you still probably would be an artist in some
It's
way,
tough
shape,
to
or
say.
form. You're a creative dude, you know?
It's tough to say. Thank you so much, Allie, our producer, Hannah. It's tough to say.
I mean, it's really a futile thing to even think about, like what would I be if I had a different father, because you wouldn't be you.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
no, because I mean, so much of like what I decided to do at a very early age was in the developmental stages of my existence, like when he was actually present in my life. And I remember back even being in like third grade and doing stuff in like school plays and getting up and singing in front of people. And I remember thinking that the feeling of being able to entertain people or make them laugh, or to be able to garner some sort of reaction from the public, that love and that positive reinforcement for me acting like a jackass was something I became addicted to at a very early age, because it felt the opposite of the lack of a fuck that my dad gave about anything I did.
Right.
Because I didn't play sports, dude.
Right.
Because he spent most of his time with my little brother, because my little brother was a little jock kid, you know, running around kicking a soccer ball and whatnot. And I just remember when I would like make people laugh on the schoolyard, or get up in front of all the parents and like dress in a stupid outfit and sing a song for the choir. And I remember people would clap and laugh. And I just remember being like, well, they love me more than my dad does. And I think so much of at least the performance aspect of why I continued to pursue those type of things is because I just wanted for someone to love me as much as I wanted him to love me, honestly. But in therapy, I learned it's like, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. That's hard to do. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that the applause that people hear and the laughter that comedians hear is definitely something that fills this empty hole in their heart that wasn't filled with love from somebody else. But it's like, it's kind of tragic, because without that hole in your heart that drives you, you'd be fucking lame. You know what I'm saying? You'd like, you know, sometimes to be awesome.
You just snorted. Allie just snorted. That was good.
To be awesome, you need somebody to fucking treat you badly. You know what I mean? To be awesome, you need heartbreak. You need an empty hole in your heart to fill with fucking the laughter and applause of strangers, you know?
Yeah, and when I was in therapy, my therapist brought up that like you should be thankful that he was the way he was, because it made you who you are. And
that's a positive way to look at it, man. You're just like practicing gratitude, even if it seems like something you shouldn't be grateful
like,
for.
Thank you, Dad, for fucking making me.
I think your therapist has a point, because you can't change it.
No.
It's like anything that happened to you that formulated in you into who you are. At this point, you might as well appreciate it, because feeling a negative way about it can't change it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that thing, like the only person it affects is you.